Howdy everyone. Oh, for fuck's sake. Welcome to the next part of Digimon Adventure PSP. And in the last part we finally took out Etamon, you know, that pain in the fucking rear end because of I'm sorry, I'm still kind of bitter about that fight. I mean, I did win, but still. 1000 HP restore? I fucking hate the bastard. Anyway, Taichi is sucked back into the real world. Just Taichi, no one else. Because, obviously, Taichi was the one closest. So, This episode really doesn't serve much of a purpose other than to explain that the real world and digital world are a lot more closely intertwined than what even Kushiro thought was possible. So Taichi's all excited and stuff about being back home. So yeah, after this scene, there really isn't much to see or do around here, so you would just want to head left. And that will take us back to the apartment that the apartment building that Taichi lives in. Being that he lives in a flat. Or an apartment if, you know, you're American or whatever. So, there really isn't much else that we do from this point onwards. So I think Taichi might possibly be wondering how long he's been gone. I'm just judging this based on the dub that I watched when I was little. Anyway, he comes back into his apartment and his sister Hikari is there. So this is obviously, yeah, you may be wondering, okay, so there's a new child here, what's she serve? What purpose does she serve the plot? Well, she don't serve too much of a purpose at the minute. She's just kind of here for this episode as like someone for Taichi to interact with that isn't Koromon, I suppose. But yeah, it's worth noting that Hikari can see Koromon. She knows what he is. She knows all about Digimon. Which is kind of freaky, given that she never came to the digital world with the other kids. But yeah, Hikari's familiar with Koromon. She knows who he is. Which kind of is a little bit suspicious. Anyway, now Taichi is ringing up his friends to see if they've come home. And none of them have. They're all still in the digital world. Poor fuckers. So obviously this has a bit of a knock-on effect, because Taichi's the only child that's gotten home, and he feels like he needs to get back there to help them. Anyway, like I said, this episode mainly to just show, for two purposes. One is to showcase just how, how closely interlinked the digital world and the real world really are. And the fact that time doesn't really pass much, even though they've been in the digital world for months, barely any time has passed at all. Minutes has passed since they left. I'm surprised that Taichi wasn't dropped off at the camp, but okay. He was dropped off right by his home, so that's something. The other purpose of this episode, I think, was to introduce Hikari, because she does come into the plot a fair bit later on. She doesn't serve too much of a purpose now, other than purely just, to introduce her. But, like I say, she does come into things later on, and she will be important later on. Most people can probably already guess what purpose she'll serve. So, We now find that Kushiro's a bit drunk and he's telling Taichi to not come back, if I remember rightly. We'll find out what's up with Kushiro in a later episode, because there is actually a reason behind this. Oh, silence. Okay. Hikari's so sweet, isn't she? So Taichi wants to go back to help his friends, because for a short time he had to kind of resign himself to the thought that he might be stuck at home, and that doesn't really happen. He will get back to the digital world. Yeah, the Digivoice isn't working. But it will. Rest assured it will. Anyway, big earthquake. Taichi runs outside and there are Digimon appearing. Oh noes. I don't know why, but I like this music. So yeah, Taichi tells Hikari to stay behind, even though Hikari wants to go with him. Well, Hikari hasn't really got a Digimon partner, so she can't really come with him, if you catch my drift. So there are Digimon appearing and disappearing and... yeah. And none of the other humans can see them, apart from Taichi and Hikari. And unfortunately there seems to be no way of stopping them, because Ogremon can't digivolve because the Digivoice has decided it's not going to bloody work. Okay, we finished chatting because, you know, there's a digital world that we need to get back to. Anyway, Hikari follows even though Taichi told her not to, in her pyjamas no less. Anyway, Ogamon! God, I swear that this Digimon crops up quite frequently as well, which you'll see in a later part. So we have really no choice but to fight this guy, because he is not disappearing like the others did, and he's actually smashed a great big fucking hole in the ground. Who's gonna fucking pay for that? Oh, now the Digivoice works. How convenient. So now it's time to fight Ogamon. Which, really, there's nothing to this fight because we've got the ability to Digivolve be into Perfect now, so You know, why worry? So I want to digivolve into Metal Greymon, just to make this fight a complete and utter joke. I mean, it's only a little teeny weeny Ogamon. It's pretty strong, but, you know, defensively, but really it's not doing much to me attack-wise. I'll just keep Giga Destroyer in you, and then you should go down very, very quickly. And then we can return to the digital world, and then that'll be that. I'm surprised that there are conveniently no people on the streets while this battle is taking place. So let's try this attack. Okay, that was kind of interesting. Still did a fair chunk, so that's all good. It's all good. So, some experience. And now we get to head back to the digital world and say farewell to Hikari for the time being. Like I said, she will come into the plot later on, and she is relatively important. Just not at this moment, she isn't. Bye bye. This was one of the sweetest, saddest moments in the anime. So, Taichi says farewell. This scene isn't as emotional as what it was in the anime. Seriously, if you can find the anime version of this scene in Japanese, look it up, because it is really emotional and brought a little tear to my eye the first time I saw it. The English version didn't really make it as emotional as the Japanese version was. But anyway, Taichi has now returned to the digital world. I'm guessing he's in the same place he was in before he beat Etamon. But all the other kids have gone, so we've got to go and find them, wherever they are. And who knows how long they've been here without Taichi. I mean, minutes have passed for Taichi, but for all we know, months could have passed for those children. So let's go find them in the next episode. Like I say, the episode with Hikari in the real world is really, really short, and it's mostly for plot purposes more than anything else. So let's get down to it. This episode is kind of also an important one, because we finally get a certain Digimon back after not being able to play as him for fuck knows how long. Yes, I am talking about Patamon. Because quite frankly, it's disgusting it had gone this long without being able to play as Patamon. And I can almost guarantee we're still going to be relying on other Digimon, because, yeah, Patamon, that's all we get back. We don't get the Angemon back, we just get Patamon. Which is bullshit. Okay, so basically what happens here is the kids gradually start to separate from each other. First off with Sora thinking that they can go off and find Taichi on her own with Piamon. Tokomon was the only one that saw them go. So Sora leaves, and this eventually results in all the other kids gradually separating from each other. Okay, so like I say, the kids are going to all go their separate ways. Kushiro leaves, and then Joe leaves. Yeah, this scene goes on for a little bit, and then Mimi eventually leaves. So Takeru and Yamato go one way, and Mimi goes the other. And like I say, all the kids are separated. Well, not yet, but they will go their separate ways. So I think Takeru doesn't really understand why they're doing this, why they're all splitting up, that they should all be together, but... well, that's what happens. This is, like I say, a very long scene. This is going to be a very, like, text and chatting heavy part. With, like, a little bit of gameplay smushed in here and there. So, Mimi leaves. I'm presuming that she was arguing with them, but... oh, whatever. Mimi leaves, leaving Yamato and Takeru together on their own. With Garvimon and Tokomon, obviously. So, we find ourselves in this area with Taichi, because Taichi is now returned. And he's looking all over for the other kids, and they're not cropping up, and... wow. I will be astonished. You know, I will be honest, in the anime, he found the other kids reasonably quickly, and I was quite amazed by how quickly he found them, given how long they've probably been separated for. I mean, Taichi could have only been missing for a few days, but you never know. So, let's go. We can't go that way, because that's obviously not going to take us anywhere. We want to go this way. There's an item up there. So I want to grab that and ignore you, Numamon, because really, Numamon at this point, there's nothing to them. I'll probably ignore Monochromon as well, because I don't really give two flying fucks about Monochromon. I just want to move on with the story, you know what I mean? So now we're in this grassy land, and we barely step forward 2 inches, and then... not even that, actually. We get another signal from the Digivice, and look, it's Tokomon! But no sign of Takeru anywhere. Anyway, we go over to Takeru and we get another lengthy scene explaining why Tokomon is on his own without Takeru. And basically Tokomon explains that Takeru has effectively abandoned him. Which comes as quite a bit of a shock. Considering how close these guys were, and the fact that Tokomon actually gave his friggin' life to save Takeru at one point, and had to be reborn. You know, it just screams ungrateful from Takeru, I'm sorry, but it really does. But this explains how that Takeru ended up abandoning Tokomon. And I presume this is Yamato trying to explain why the kids have all separated and... Yeah. Oh, that's not very nice. He's only a kid. In the anime, the dubbed episode particularly, they really highlighted the fact that Takeru was a little bit of a crybaby. Particularly in this episode, because it's implied that what happens next happens because Takeru is a crybaby, even though it isn't. The reason why whatever happens, happens. And it's only just about to happen, so I don't know why I'm not bloody just coming out and saying it, but hey ho. They arrive at this amusement park. And there's not really much going on here. There is a boat that leads to the other side of this big lake, this big river or whatever the fuck it is. It's this portion of sea. So Yamato is actually going to go over and have a look at what's on the other side, see if there's anything over there that he can find, and basically just leaves Takeru completely unprotected with a fucking useless Tokomon. Oh, I'm sorry, but that's just... You can't blame the kid for having abandonment issues. That doesn't excuse his abandoning of Tokomon, but still. This is a very much a Takeru Cries episode. The one where Takeru cries a lot. Anyway, we meet this this Digimon called PicoDevimon in this episode. In the Japanese version. In the English version, he's known as Devimon. Now take a look at this little guy. Would you ever trust him? Judging by the fact that he looks like a miniature devil with a skull on his head, would you ever trust his word over that of your partner, who has been with you since the damn beginning? Why do I ask this question? Because Takeru does. He trusts this guy over Tokomon. Basically, PicoDevimon pretended to go across the ocean and speak to Yamato, and then comes back and feeds Takeru a bunch of lies about how Yamato said he doesn't want to come back for Takeru because Takeru is too much of a crybaby. And basically fuels Takeru's abandonment issues. And Takeru just believes him. Even though Tokomon's like, but Yamato would never say that. And even Takeru should know that Yamato would never fucking say that, because of how much Yamato adores Takeru. But Takeru believes him. And it gets really upset. And Tokomon obviously gets pissed off with PicoDevimon. I love that fucking face. It just... Can't take it seriously. Anyway, Tokomon gets really pissed off with PicoDevimon because he sees right through his lies. Even though Takeru doesn't, because he's naive and's got abandonment issues. So Tokomon gets so pissed off that he attacks PicoDevimon, and Takeru's like, how dare you do that? You should apologise, even though, you know, this guy was blatantly lying and provoking Tokomon as well. This is Tokomon, Takeru. This is the same Digimon who gave his friggin' life to save you and the other kids. This is Tokomon who went to great lengths to protect you from the very beginning, since you started out in the digital world. And you decide to abandon him in favour of this puffball with a giant skull on his forehead and who loves telling fucking lies. You could put this down to like I say, abandonment issues, but still, it's just. Oh, Takeru, your abandonment issues have made you stupid in this episode. So that's that. That explains that. Explains what happens there. Takeru just wanders off with PicoDevimon, even though PicoDevimon is a lying bastard. Takeru obviously cannot see that. So we need to go and find Takeru now and talk to him after battling this guy. Well, that takes care of that. Right, so now we need to go and find Takeru. There's nothing here on this dock, so don't bother to come down to the dock. We just need to go into the amusement park now, because that's where Takeru is. Oh, there's a save point. I will definitely take that. Actually, yeah, let's save, because saving at this point definitely cannot hurt. So save the game. And let's go into the amusement park. Once inside, we'll find Takeru extremely quickly. He's like right in the corner. And PicoDevimon is just basically on about having fun with Takeru. But Takeru's now thinking maybe he was wrong for abandoning Tokomon. And PicoDevimon's like, oh, but Tokomon was in the wrong, blah 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 blah, and he gets so fed up that Takeru cannot forget his partner that he ends up leaving Takeru himself to go and, well, you'll see. So PicoDevimon leaves and we find Takeru in the corner on his own. So we get to reunite with him. And Takeru's clearly surprised to see Taichi here. And I think Takeru just assumes that Tokomon's here to apologise to PicoDevimon, despite that not being the case. Anyway, I probably want to explain what PicoDevimon is doing. Each crest that the child has obviously means something. Takeru's is the crest of hope. PicoDevimon is essentially playing on Takeru's abandonment issues to make him lose hope. If he loses hope, his crest will never glow. If his crest doesn't glow, then Patamon will never be able to reach his fullest potential. Not that he's even bloody reaching, you know, champion level at this bloody point. And it actually reaches the point where Takeru's like asking Taichi to be his big brother, because he really feels that Yamato's abandoned him. Now, okay, maybe I'm being a bit harsh and you shouldn't really judge Digimon by appearances. Maybe this guy could have actually been a good guy, apart from his species and his appearance, but the point remains, he isn't, and even though Takeru doesn't know this, why would you trust a stranger over the Digimon that's been looking after you since the very beginning? Albeit poorly, but still, you know, albeit poorly. I always seem to pronounce it as albeit. It's supposed to be albeit. So, PicoDevimon went and picked some mushrooms for them all to eat. Only there's something not quite right about these mushrooms, which you'll eventually learn really, really quickly. This episode might last a little bit longer than what I hope, you know, than what I initially hoped, but I wanted to get this particular episode finished. So they're all like, okay, fine, we'll eat the mushrooms. We'll eat the mushrooms that has been provided by this lion puffball that we've only just met. So we're all getting ready to tuck in when Ogremon decides he needs the toilet. I swear Ogremon always needs the bloody toilet, because I've never known any of the other kids or Digimon need the toilet. But Ogremon, is this the second time? So Ogamon's actually going to eat the mushrooms, and then he gets a voice that sounds like Sora's telling him not to touch them. These mushrooms are forgetfulness mushrooms. If they eat them, they will lose their memories. PicoDevimon was trying to give them to Takeru to make him forget about Tokomon. So Ogamon runs off to warn the other kids, and why Sora doesn't reveal herself, well, we'll learn about that later on. So now Ogamon's like, don't eat the mushrooms. They're dangerous. They're poison. They'll make you forget who you are. You've got to love how Ogamon looks when he's angry. And that voice at the same time, like... So, PicoDevimon is outed as a liar. And now we're going to beat the shit out of him for being a lying cunt. Takeru even now eventually sees him as the liar that he is. Which, let's face it, he should have done sooner, but okay. Takeru makes it up with Tokomon. And his crest glows. With all hope returned. So, they're friends again. They shouldn't have broke friends to begin with, but whatever. Takeru's crest glows, which obviously indicates something's going to happen. And PicoDevimon is pissed off because now it means that Takeru will be able to use his crest whatever he likes, I'm presuming. And finally, after fuck knows how long, we get Patamon back. But only Patamon. For those of you expecting Angemon to come back, no such fucking luck. Just Patamon. And Patamon is as weak as shit because he hasn't gained the slightest bit of experience since the battle with Devimon. Because he can't. So now we get to fight PicoDevimon, and this is going to be really, really easy because I'm just going to abuse the fuck out of Ogremon here. I just want to see what this attack does. Okay, it's the Metal Claw, and it still does a lot. Anyway, this guy shouldn't be too tough, he's just like a rookie, so... I mean, Patamon's still not going to do very much to him. And the only thing is, I've taken all the Digichips off of Patamon because I was getting no use out of him. It shouldn't matter anyway. You've got Ogremon with you who can Digivolve to his perfect form, so you just abuse the fuck out of that. And we get 2 level ups. Even though Patamon is still ridiculously far behind. So, yeah. PicoDevimon leaves and we've got Patamon back, which doesn't really mean much at the moment because you can yes, you can stick him in your party now and you can get experience for him now, but he can't reach Angemon level, so he's definitely going to need a lot of backup when he goes into battle with anybody. And I mean anybody! Because he's still a fucking weakling. So that's that.